Damodar Ashtaka at the end, Prabhuji, or you want
At
to?
the end. At
At
the
the
end.
end, yeah? At the end.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Okay.
Okay, so let me take the verse. Okay, thank you, dear devotees, for joining today. Let's welcome all of you saying 3 times Haribol. Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. So let's begin the class. It is like this. Okay, it's not Google Chrome. Okay, got it. Okay, so we'll share the screen. Okay, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We will recite the Pranam mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudiraye. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavada sevaya bhagavadi uttama sloge bhaktir bhavadi naishtigim. So we are reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, verse number 6. So you can repeat after me. You can. Natad bhasayado surya.
Na tad bhasayato surya.
Na shashango na pavagaha.
Na shashanka na pavaka.
Yad gatva na nivartande.
Yad gatva
Tadhama paramam mama.
Tadhama paramam mama.
Na tadbhasayade suryo.
Na
Bhasyate suryo.
Na shashango na pavagaha.
Na shashanko na pavaka.
Yad gatva na nivartande.
Yad gatva na nirante.
Tadhama paramam mama.
Tadhama paramam mama.
Na tadbhasayade suryo.
Na
Bhasyate suryo.
Na shashango na pavagaha.
Na
Na
shashanko
shashanko
na
na
pavaka.
pavaka.
Yad gatva nivartande.
Yad
gatva
gatva
nivartante.
Tadhama paramam mama.
Tadhama paramam mama.
Please go ahead and recite. Verse.
Tadbhasayate suryo.
Na tadbhasayade suryo.
Shashanko na pavaka.
Na shashango na pavagaha.
Yad gatva na nivartante.
Yad gatva na nivartande.
Dhama paramam mama.
Tadhama paramam mama.
Na tadbhasyanti suryo.
Na tadbhasayade suryo.
Na shashanko na pavakaha.
Na shashango na pavagaha.
Yad gatva na nivartante.
Yad gatva na nivartande.
Tadhama paramam mama.
Tadhama paramam mama. Prabhuji. The Prabhuji's wanted to go. Sandeep Prabhu, Murdanta Prabhu.
न तद्भासयते सूर्यो
न tadbhasayade suryo
न शशाङ्क न पावक
na shashanko na pavagaha
यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते
yadgatva na nivartante
तद्धाम परं मम
tadhama paramam mama. Uday Prabhu, want to try? Okay. Synonyms. Na, not. Tad, that. Bhasayade, illuminates. Suryaha, the sun. Na, nor. Shashanka, the moon. Na, no. Pavaka, the fire, electricity. Yet, word. Gatva, going. Na, never. Nivartande, they come back. Tadhama, that abode. Paramam, supreme. Mama, mine. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Please repeat after me, if you can. That supreme abode of mine
that supreme abode of mine
is not illuminated by the sun
is
is
not
not
illuminated
illuminated
by
by the
the sun
sun
or moon,
or
or
moon,
moon,
nor by fire
nor
nor
by
by
fire
fire
or electricity.
or
or
electricity.
electricity.
Those who reach it
Those who reach it
never return to this material world.
never return to this material world.
The spiritual world, the abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, which is known as Krishna Loka, Goloka Vrindavana, is described here. In the spiritual sky, there is no need of sunshine, moonshine, fire, or electricity, because all the planets are self-luminous. We have only one planet in this universe, the sun, which is self-luminous. But all the planets in the spiritual sky are self-luminous. The shining effulgence of all those planets, called Vaikunthas, constitute the shining sky known as the Brahmajyotir. Actually, the effulgence is emanating from the planet of Krishna, Goloka Vrindavana. Part of that shining effulgence is covered by the Mahat Tattva, the material world. Other than this, the major portion of that shining sky is full of spiritual planets, which are called Vaikunthas, chief of which is Goloka Vrindavana. As long as a living entity is in this dark material world, he is in conditioned life. But as soon as he reaches the spiritual sky, by cutting through the false, perverted tree of this material world, he becomes liberated. Then there is no chance of his coming back here. In his conditioned life, the living entity considers himself to be the Lord of this material world. But in his liberated state, he enters into the spiritual kingdom and becomes an associate of the Supreme Lord. There he enjoys eternal bliss, eternal life, and full of knowledge. One should be captivated by this information. He should desire to transfer himself to that eternal world and extricate himself from this false reflection of reality. For one who is too much attached to this material world, it is very difficult to cut that attachment. But if he takes to Krishna consciousness, there is a chance of gradually become detached. One has to associate himself with the devotees, those who are in Krishna consciousness. One should search out a society dedicated to Krishna consciousness and learn how to discharge devotional service. In this way, he can cut off his attachment to the material world. One cannot become detached from the attraction of the material world simply by dressing himself in saffron cloth. He must become attached to the devotional service of the Lord. Therefore, one should take it very seriously that devotional service, as described in the 12th chapter, is the only way to get out of these false representations of the real tree. In chapter 14, the contamination of all kinds of processes by material nature is described. Only devotional service is described as purely transcendental. The words Paramam Mama are very important here. Actually, every nook and corner is the property of the Supreme Lord. But the spiritual world is Paramam, full of 6 opulences. The Katha Upanishad 2.2.15 also confirms that in the spiritual world, there is no need of sunshine, moonshine, or stars. Na tatra suryo bhadina chandra taragam. For the whole spiritual sky is illuminated by the internal potency of the Supreme Lord. That supreme abode can be achieved only by surrender and by no other means. Om Nagyanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salagaya Chakshurunmilidam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stabidam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadadi Sapadandigam Vandeham Sri Gurum Sri Yudapadagamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajadam Sahagana Raghunadhanidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaidam Savadudam Parijana Sahidam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalidam Sri Vishaghanidamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Namostude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpadarubhasya Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Padidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Sahana Vavadu Sahanau Bhunaktum Sahaviryam Karavavagai Tejasvinamadidastu Ma Vidushavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi Harihi Om Tatsat. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you so much for joining today. It's a very auspicious day of month of Kartik. Today is the second day. We began the Kartik yesterday with very auspicious and ecstatic mood of association of the devotees, and His Grace Gauranga Prabhu was here. And it was so nice to be around with the exalted devotees, and their association and their presence completely changes the entire atmosphere and their mood. So that's exact point of the Kartik, which completely changes the consciousness, completely changes the mode of devotion. And just by being there, just by being with the devotees, just by being in the satsang, that one can transform himself to the next level, to the higher level of spirituality. So thank you all for joining this wonderful, auspicious Kartik and day 2. And this is the mercy of the Lord. This is the mercy of Lord Damodara, that we are here and to hear the glories of the Supreme Lord. That's the perfection of our life. And even little bit we do that, definitely and very much, that will help us to progress in the path of devotion. So we'll get into the chapter. So this chapter is titled as the Yoga of the Supreme Person. We know what is the meaning of yoga. Yoga means to connect, to relate, sambandha, or to unite. And these are the various meanings of yoga. It's come from the yuj, which means to connect. So yoga of the Supreme Person, that means how we can connect to that Supreme Person. So that's very important. And in the beginning of this chapter, the Supreme Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, explaining to Arjuna about the how we can connect to the Supreme Lord. So as we all know that we are part of this material nature. The Supreme Lord is saying that this material nature is considered as and as an imperishable banyan tree. So it's considered as, or it's equate with a banyan tree. So Lord says that this banyan tree's root is upward. That means material nature, the root of this material nature is upward. So then it falls down. All the branches, all the twigs, all the leaves, downwards. And in the second verse, Lord says that the branches of the tree extend downwards and upward. So it goes upward and downward, the branches of this tree. So Lord is saying that one who knows this tree is known as the knower of the Vedas. Why it is Lord mentioned that? Because the one who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas, because of the Vedas describe the the complete descriptions of the material and the spiritual realm. So one who knows the Vedas means, or one who knows this banyan tree or the structure of this spiritual and the material world, he is considered as the one who knows Vedas. So the various elements of this tree is also equate or compared with the various aspects of this material world. So Lord says that the branches of the tree is considered as the three modes of material nature. So there are various branches of this tree. So that means, as we know, that the material nature is consists of three modes of material nature. The twigs are the object of the senses, that we are all bound by our senses. So the twigs is so hard. So all these branches and the twigs is actually related with this material nature, and especially the twigs are considered as the object of the senses. So we are so tied to that. And this tree also has a root going down. So the origin of the root is upward, it's coming down, so that the root is going down. So that we know that the banyan tree, sometimes the root is also going down from the different parts of the banyan tree. You must have seen that. And there are all the roots, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of the human society. So this root also, we are so much tied to this root. Why this root is compared? Because of we are so much tied with the fruitive actions in this world, and that is also downward. That's also going downwards. So that means, that many times we go to a pool or a lake or something, then if a tree is on the shore of this lake, then if you look in the water, we can see that exactly the root is up, and all the the branches and all the leaves and everything goes downwards. So why it is representing here? So Lord is actually mentioning here in this, that this material world is a reflection of the original tree. So that's why it is also another way we can see it, that this material nature, this material world is a reflection of the spiritual world. So the material world, the root is upward in the spiritual sky, in the spiritual realm, and from there everything is emanates or manifests into this material world. So this is a nice comparison of the material nature to this banyan tree. So that's where the Lord is further explaining that the real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. So it's very difficult, because of us always says that one who goes to a desert and searching for water. But because of the reflections of the light, we see that there is an image, there is a mirror image, right? Mirage, that sees that there is some water. But when we go nearby to the mirage, we see that it's just a reflection, illusion of this light. So like that, we are here in this world, there is a reflection of everything, that perverted reflection of the original in this material world, that we call it as the perverted reflection or material nature from the original. So it's in reality, these are all various types of reflections of the original nature, and then it reflects up to us, and then we are actually illusioned by it, and we see that these are the real things. So here in this chapter, the Supreme Lord gives that what is real, what is original, and what is, unreal. So that's what is the importance of this chapter. So when we understand what is original, then this way we can connect to that reality or the absolute truth of the Supreme Lord. That's the importance of this chapter, and that's what is exactly Lord is revealing to Arjuna, so that it's to us, so that we can understand this transcendental science. So Krishna is further says that the real form of this tree cannot be perceived by in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. We know that when the Brahma, so initially Brahma manifested from the lotus navel of the Mahavishnu and the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and then the lotus sprouts and it went up to the top planet, the topmost planetary system, Satyaloka. There the lotus sprouts and there Brahma manifested. That is, that's called Brahma, Vidhata. He came from the, the lotus. So initially there was full of darkness and Brahma couldn't see anything around. And then Brahma was little bewildered and Brahma was there for some time. So Brahma thought that, okay, let me go and find out the beginning of this foundation. Where did I come from? Where is the root of this lotus stem? So Brahma tried to go down and to try to find out the root of it. And in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we can see that. So Brahma tried and many, many years and tried to find out the root of that even lotus stem, or the foundation of that, where the lotus stem come from. And then Brahma couldn't do anything. Brahma was frustrated after searching for many, many years. Then Brahma come back to original in his position. That is the time Brahma heard a sound, tapa, that means to start the penance. So Brahma even tried to find out the root or the foundation of this tree, or the root of everything. Even Brahma couldn't find out. So that's what is exactly that Krishna is revealing to Arjuna, that even no one can find out, or no one knows or understand where it begins or what is the foundation is. But Krishna says, but with determination, one must cut this strongly rooted tree with the weapons of detachment. So we are completely covered by this material nature of this, perverted reflection of the original nature. And then we completely bound by it, various sticks and the branches and the roots and the leaves and the fruits and so many things. So we are completely entangled with it. So now Krishna is saying that we are in unreal realm or unreal, the place. And there it's not easy to come out. So Krishna is revealing that how we can connect, how we can relate to Krishna is that we have to cut down our attachment to this material world. So we have to cut the branches of this tree. So we have to cut the roots of this tree from this material world. So how we can cut the roots and the branches of this tree that which we are tied up? So only that by cutting down our attachment. So we have to cut down our attachment to this material or the perverted reflection of this tree or the original, the real, unreal tree. So Krishna further explains that we need a weapon to cut these branches and roots and our attachment to this tree. So how we can do that? So the weapon is nothing but the knowledge or the transcendental knowledge. That's why this is included into this knowledge section or the Jnana Yoga section of it. So with this weapon of knowledge, and we have to cut this detachment from this root of the tree or the branches of the tree, and then we have to come out of it. Then only we can clearly understand our original nature. That's exactly Krishna says that. So one must seek the place from which, having gone, one never returns. So Krishna is revealing that, yes, this is not the place for us. The living entity is actually entrapped here. This place is not real. This place is actually temporary. And it ashashwadam. It is temporary and full of miseries. Dukhalaya. And this place is full of suffering. And this place has birth, death, and old age and the diseases. This this place has birth, and one has to take birth in this world, in this material world or this unreal place. And then one has to go through various sufferings, and then one has to go through the old age, and it's very difficult. And it has to be every living entity in this world has to go through this. Janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha doshanu darshanam. There is no doubt into that. Every living entity is not permanent here. Every living entity has a little bit time here. They come and take birth in this world. They grow little bit and they reproduce, and 6 kinds of stages they go through like this. They take birth, they just grow a little bit, and then they reproduce. Then they come to the old age, and then they come to dwindle. That means now they cannot do anything anymore. At that stage, now they come to the last stage of the death. So then they have to again take birth in another body, depends upon their activities and the past karma, or the reactions that they did it in the past, or the consciousness they develop. Accordingly, they have to take birth again and again. So this is called Charvida Charvanam. Charvida Charvanam in the Sanskrit mentioned that Charvida Charvanam means one is chewing the chewed. Charvida Charvanam. So every lifetime that we chewed, and then we also get chewed on the next lifetime, the same thing. Birth, death, old age, and diseases, and grow and reproduce, and the dwindle and goes through the suffering and some misery, and sinking into this material oceans, and so many troubles, strugglings, and so many things a person has to go through. A person has to go through with the dualities, the pain and the pleasure, and happiness and the distress, and the sorrow and the distress, and the heat and the cold, and so many dualities. This is the temporary nature of this material world. So we know that like a branches, when the leaves are there for some time and it then dries up, new leaves comes, and then it again dries up. The branches dries up, then it falls down. Even tree dries up, and then the next seed comes up, then a new tree comes up. So this called the samsara chakra. Samsara means the ocean of misery. Samsara means ocean. Samsara chakra means we are into this ocean of repeated cycle of birth and death. We are in the ocean of repeated birth and death and cycle of birth and death. So this is going on. So Krishna is revealing that no, this is an unreal place, it's a temporary place. But beyond this temporary place, there is a original place that the devotees, one who is understand this, one who is surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whom gone there, and then they didn't come back into this material world again. So because of they are surrendered unto the Supreme Lord. So that's where we come to that. Krishna is revealing that how one can actually attain that supreme abode, that supreme world, that which is original, real, it is eternal, it's full of knowledge. It's called Satchitananda. It's called Paravyoma. This is Paravyoma. Para means supreme, Vyoma means sky. That is the superior sky. We are here in this material world is considered as an inferior nature or inferior sky, or apara, Vyoma, or the superior nature or the spiritual realm beyond this material world is known as the Param Vyoma, or the superior nature. Vyoma means the sky or superior sky. So Krishna says that how one can attain that abode, how one can attain that the superior nature of the Krishna, superior abode of the Lord. And this is what is the beautiful part of this chapter, is that Krishna is revealing that the Supreme Lord can only reveal that. So Srila Prabhupada asked one time a question: who can actually talk about the Supreme Lord? Who can speak about the nature of the Supreme Lord? Who can reveal the nature of or science of the Supreme Lord? And Srila Prabhupada was giving that only Supreme Lord can speak that. Only Supreme Lord. So that's why Supreme Lord is revealing this transcendental truth, so that we all can understand, we all can take it. So here Krishna is saying that who can actually attain, who can go back to the original abode, or back to God, back to home, back to Godhead. So Krishna is saying that one who is free from the false prestige. See, devotees, because of this perverted reflection, the illusory energy, that we think that we are the Lord of this nature. So we develop this false ego, ahanga. Everything is rounded by me and myself. I and the concepts of the I. So I am everything. I am beyond. I am the Lord. Everything is here for my purpose, my sake, my enjoyment. My duty, my nature is to enjoy myself, to be in this enjoyment mood or sense, the sense gratification. And I am in the center of everything, self-centric. So everything we see through that eyes. So everybody else is servants of me, even God Himself. This devotee thinks that okay, Lord is there for my purpose. I can ask anything to the Lord. Lord has to immediately fulfill that. If the Lord doesn't immediately fulfill that, I get angry. I get the challenge. I get revenge with the Lord. So these are all demoniac qualities. So we can develop all these demoniac qualities one by one like this when we have this false ego. Then we develop the false prestige out of it. That I am this, I am so and so, I am so great, I am beautiful, I am rich, I am marvelous, I have big house, I have big car, I have big bank balances, I have beautiful children, I have every family, relatives, and everybody surrounded by me. In the 16th chapter, next chapter, it explains very detailed about how a person in the demoniac quality thinks. He thinks like that when he develops this false ego, he can become a demon. He will go down, falls down into these demoniac qualities. So here, Krishna says that free from the false prestige and illusion. So it's very clear that. So from these scriptures, we can understand that even also we experience every day. So like that, we think that, okay, if we get some money, we'll be happy. But the moment we get the money, the new things comes. When we get, $100, we seek for the 1,000. When we seek 1,000, when we get the 1,000, we seek for 10,000. When we seek initially a big house, but when we have, after some times that happiness is gone, we are looking for new. So this is called Chapala Sukha. This world we are experiencing every day in this world, and every time in our lifetime, we are seeking more and more happiness because of we are in an illusionary world. We think that we get the happiness from it, and then but we don't get it. Why? Because of our desire is incessant, right? It's continuous. It never stops. If we eat something and we are looking for the next what can be make me happy. So it's called Chapala Sugha. So every time we are seeking for happiness in this world, but we are never satisfied. So nobody in this world is ever satisfied because of they are always looking for something new and better happiness they get. They're not happy with their home, what they have. Lord provides everything. They are greedy, but Lord always provides the need of the people. But Lord is actually, people are always greedy, so that they develop such a dissatisfaction and disappointment and the distress. And because of the dissatisfaction and the disappointments, they develop so much of distress in their life. So they develop these mental problems, the psychological problems, health problems. They are not happy. So this is what is we can see in this world. Where it starts from? All this our illusory or imaginary concept of our life. So we are the cause of our own problems. We are the cause of our own suffering. We are the cause of our own distress. We are the cause of our own dissatisfaction. Why? Because of we don't understand. So as Srila Rupa Goswami says that the root cause of our suffering is ignorance, avidya. Because of we are not knowing what is what and what is right, what to do, what not to be done. And because of that, we are all into this ignorance or in the darkness. And when we are in the darkness and the ignorance, then we are in the suffering and the pain. This is the symptoms of the darkness and ignorance, which causes and leads to the distress, unhappiness, disappointments, and all these various types of sufferings. So here, the Supreme Lord is giving this wonderful knowledge and the transcendental knowledge when we are free from this imaginary or the illusory, false identification. So we always identify ourselves with this material world that I am so and so. I am Indian, I am American, I am white, I am black, I am Jewish, I am Christian, I am Hindu, I am Muslim, I am Parsi, I am Sikh, I am, so and so. So this is our false identification. We never say that I am a spirit soul. I'm part of the supreme nature. I'm part of the supreme Lord. I'm part and parcel of the supreme Lord. We never understand that. We always comes and identify ourselves with this material nature. So Krishna says that we have to free from the false identification of this material nature. When we are free from the false identification from the material nature, then we start to understand the eternal or that which beyond that which, the cause of all the causes. When we come out from this, our self-centric attitude of self-centric life, then only we can understand that the beyond from the self-centric, there is a superior nature. Then we understand that eternal superior nature. Then Krishna says that we have to free from all this our false bondage and the lust and the free from all the dualities, and all these are actually bewildering us. All because of unknowingly we don't know, but we are completely tied to it. So when we identify ourselves with this material nature, dear devotees, that's our course of destruction starts. So that's where we adogati, we go to the hellish planets and goes through these various life cycles, cycle of birth and death, and various levels of livings, and then we completely sink into this ocean of this material world, and every lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, then we completely suffers and goes through, like as mentioned, that chewing the chewed or eaten the eaten, or we are vomiting what we already vomited, and this is what is going on in this world. So we are completely kind of entangled with this ignorance. So Krishna is revealing here that how one can come out of it, or cut down this attachment to this tree, this material tree. So then in this verse, Krishna says that these beautiful descriptions of that Krishna is revealing that this is a science of the supreme abode. And Krishna says that natad bhasayado surya nasashangana pavagaha idigatva nanivartande tadhama paramamama. And Supreme Lord says that the supreme abode of mine is not illuminated by the sun or moon, nor by the fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. So dear devotees, this is a clear picture. And how do we understand that? So sometimes, we say this to a new person or something like that. Oh, this is just imaginary. This is just something, who knows, right? Who knows that this is all, sun is not there. There is no illuminated by the sun or moon. There is no electricity. There is no fire. And who knows? I mean, somebody says that if you speak to somebody else news, a new person. So, but we can easily understand, when we check in ourselves, just because of the presence of the soul. Nobody actually denied that the presence of the soul in every living entity. And the presence of the soul is actually make things, everything happens. So the presence of the soul is actually make a person to see. The presence of the soul makes a person to hear what we speak. The presence of the soul makes sure that the food is digested in our body. The presence of the soul make sure that we breath, it's generated, the heat is generated. The same time, the presence of the soul or the Paramatma, the super soul, is actually within ourselves, so that we can see things. Even though the sun is there, but if this adhyatmic or the spirit soul or the Paramatma or the super soul is not there, nothing is possible. So because of just the presence of the soul or the Paramatma, the super soul within the body, everything manifests within us. So like that, dear devotees, just by the presence of the Supreme Lord there, everything is there. Everything manifests there. There is no need of sun or moon. There is no need of electricity or water. There is no need of any fire, because of everything is spiritual, because of everything emanates from the Supreme Lord. And Supreme Lord is the source of everything there. So that is where Srila Prabhupada also mentioned that the beautiful descriptions of the spiritual realm, spiritual world, and we are into this material world. It is considered as a spirit, the cloud in the material sky. This is considered as material sky or cloud in a spiritual sky. Everything is within the spiritual. And Srila Prabhupada was mentioned one time in the purport that even the light of a sun is actually the portion of the effulgence of the Supreme Lord. Sometimes, we try to understand what is this sunlight. So naturally, the science says that, okay, there is an energy which is called an energy. Sunlight is called solar energy, right? It's an energy. We all know that. But why we are saying that the solar energy has two other aspects? It has light in it. It has heat in it. It has also, there is a light energy. There is also a heat energy just by the solar or the sun. Sun produces this one. So, but there is a concept called Adhyatmik, Adi Bhaudiga, and Adi Devik. So these three are very related, are interdependent each other. The Adi Devik the potency or the expansions or the plenary expansions of the Lord is known as Adi Devik or Deva Devadas. So that's also Lord's potency. That's Lord's energy. That Surya Devan, that's why we call him Surya Devan or the sun god. When the sun god is there, but there is no, for a living entity, when there are eyes, but the sun god is there, the light is not there, the energy is not there, then what happens? The eyes has no use. It cannot perceive anything, it cannot understand anything, it cannot see anything. Even though soul is there, the soul presence is there, but if the sun is not there, the Surya Devada is not there, or Adi Deva is not there, then we will not see it, because of the presence of the Lord in the form of the potency is needed that everything to work. So like that, even into this material sky, even into this material nature, everything is actually as per the potency of the Supreme Lord. So, but in this material world, there is an arrangement so that everybody is actually, there is a Deva Devadas or the intermediate agency that so that living entities condition, so that because of the living entities condition, they need all these arrangement. Because living entity is temporary, they need all these arrangements. Because living entity is limited, so they need all these arrangement. So nighttime he needed darkness to sleep and all those things to rejuvenate. Daytime the sun is needed to see things, and then also all the vegetations and the vegetables and the ocean, the drying the water up and giving us the rain. This is the material arrangement. But this is not needed in the spiritual sky, because of everything is, it's not unconditional. This material sky, material world is conditional, so we are bound by, entangled by here, so everything is needed here, so Lord made that arrangement. So like that, the presence of the super soul, the presence of the soul, how each and every body functions, it generates heats. It actually gives this, ability to see the things. It gives the ability to hear the things. And how that we are hearing, just because of the ear is there, we don't hear. But just because of that anala, that the wind, when the wind is there, which transport the frequency of that sound, that energy, that which comes to our ear, a membrane, and it actually transforms again into as a knowledge. So all these very beautiful devotees, and this is the transcendental science, and which relates to the Supreme Lord as well as this material nature. So the root is upward. The origin is upward. Everything comes from the Supreme Lord. Everything emanates from the Supreme Lord. As Krishna says that, Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyade sacharachara. Mayadhyakshena prakriti. There is no doubt into that. Under my superintendence, everything works under my Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyade sacharacharam. Hedu nanena kaundeya jagat vibharivartade. I am the cause of all this, and because of me, all this material nature works. So the root is upward. Even though material nature is created for the living entities, the root, the origin is the Supreme Lord. So we are here on these branches or as the leaf here in this material world. So like the soul and the super soul makes everything is possible for a human life, like everything is possible for a human life, like that. In the spiritual sky, in the spiritual abode, the Supreme Lord, because of the presence of the Supreme Lord, existence of the Supreme Lord, everything illuminates. Everything illuminates, or it's called as the effulgence of the Lord, which come from the Supreme Lord. Just that the effulgence which come from the Supreme Lord, that the sun emanates the lights, the moon gets the lights, and this entire world lights up. Entire world is there because of that, the effulgence, the light which comes from the Supreme Lord. Dear devotees, even the light is actually, yes, the perverted reflection of that, the effulgence of the Supreme Lord in this world. So that is a fact. Everything is actually the comes from the Supreme Lord. So the spiritual realm is completely, the spiritual abode is not illuminated by the sun or moon. Natad bhase do suryana chachangana pavaga iddigatwana nivartadeta dama paramama. Dear devotees, that one who understand this and understanding and surrender unto that Supreme Lord even within ourselves, and it illuminate ourselves. So we know that sometimes, great devotees, they're completely free from all this false prestige and pride and arrogance and envy and, illusion and lust and all those things. Then they situate themselves. So they have themselves, because of the potency, and even they illuminate themselves. They are effulgent. We can see that such people, very great devotees, that they have their own effulgence even there with them. And why? Because of the Lord's, that we, so like a spirit soul, now what we are all covered with this all anarthas, like a fire is covered with smoke and ashes, then the real fire doesn't come up. But we know that when the fire is there, it illuminates the lights. So like that, we are completely covered by these anarthas, but free from all this, then we also start to illuminate. Why? Because of we are part and parcel of that Supreme. So that effulgence is also there with even individual living entities, that we can see that. So by executing the devotional service, by we come to that self-realization, by understanding and surrender unto the Supreme Lord, and cut and free from all these anarthas and the prestige and all these self-centric activities and self-centric attitude and the behavior, and always considers that I am the Lord of everything. But on the other hand, when we put ourselves in the spiritual platform, associate with the devotees, Srila Prabhupada very specifically mentioned that in the purport, that when we associate with similar devotees and associate with an organization which provides all this, and this way we can cut our attachments with the knowledge and with the weapons of detachment. We can cut our existence in this temporary material world, and then we can attain that spiritual abode. So as is mentioned, that one can practice in this human life itself. Within this human's life, we can develop that Krishna consciousness and the spiritual consciousness, and using the mind. Mind is actually considered as the very powerful in terms of only by the mind, controlling our mind and focusing our mind, and then the consciousness is get purified. If we don't focus and control our mind, then consciousness is covered. So then only by controlling the mind and utilizing our mind, then the senses and the body, then in the service of the Supreme Lord and the conscious of the Supreme Lord, then we can purify ourselves and we can come out from our material cloud, this temporary material world, and then we can come out and then we can attain the Supreme Abode. And as Srila Prabhupada says that the Supreme Abode is Krishna is revealing here is the Goloka Vrindavan. My abode. That's why Krishna says that Natat Bhasayedo Suryana Shasanga na Pavagha Idigatva Nanivartandeta Dhamma Parama. One who reaches my abode will never return back into this material world. And there are many places Krishna says that. Many places that Krishna says that. Krishna says that Janma Karma Jame Divyam Evam Yovedi Tattvadaha Tektva Deham Punar Janma Naidi Mamedi. So Arjuna, one who hears my transcendental appearance and activities, upon leaving the body, never comes back into this material world again. He will come to be, there is no doubt. And Krishna further says that Brahma Bhuvaneir Loger Punaravartina Arjuna Mamubedu Kaundeya Punar Janmana Vidyade. Krishna says that even this material world, from the lower planetary system to the higher planetary system, Brahma Loga, Brahma Bhuvaneir Loger, Punaravartin Arjuna, this is repeated cycle of birth and death. But Mamubedu Kaundeya, but one who reaches my abode, Punar Janmana Vidyade, never takes birth again into this material world. So there are many places Krishna is saying this one. So dear devotees, and this is the transcendental science and the truth that we have to understand. Otherwise, we will be into this ignorance and the darkness. And the result of the ignorance and the darkness is that we never actually, get out of this cycle of birth and death. We can become an animal and different species of life and suffering here in this world. Now we don't understand the value of this human life. But once we miss the value of the human life, then we miss everything. It's like, living entities are generally told as Nitya Baddhas. That means they are eternally conditioned here. Why they are eternally conditioned here? Because of very, very, very rarely, Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschit Adadi Siddhaye, Yadadi Abhisiddhanam Kaschit Mamedi Tattva. Out of many millions, one may understand me, and out of one of many millions who understand, one approach me. So that's Krishna says that. That's the reason that says that, eternally conditioned. So we have the wonderful opportunity, dear devotees, to understand this and practice this transcendental truth and transcendental knowledge in our life. And with that knowledge only that we can cut our attachment to this material world, the weapons of detachment. So when we have these weapons of detachment and attachment to Krishna, and detachment from this material world, and attachment, our body, mind, and senses, BMW, right? Body, mind, and words and works, which attach to Krishna, then we can easily cut our material attachment to this material world. The moment we cut our material attachment and entanglement from this material world, then what is next? not in this material world. So we can cut our attachment or our relationship with this material world, then we can completely relate to that's the yoga of the Supreme. We can completely relate and connect to the Supreme. So dear devotees, this is our great fortune that we are understanding this from the mouth of the Supreme Lord. And this reveals the transcendental truths to us for our benefit, so that we can practice this bhakti, the devotion to the Supreme. And once we are, perfect, that's the perfection of our life. And once we are, completely qualified, then no matter what, dear devotees, then we are goes to that eternal abode. And Krishna says that that abode is completely eternal and spiritual. And in the Brahma Samhita, it is reveals that it is so beautifully that entire Brahma saw this eternal world, the spiritual sky, or Goloka Vrindavan. And there, everything is so beautifully described in the Brahma Samhita. I'm not getting into it. It's so beautiful. And Brahma saw this eternal abode, the Goloka Vrindavan. So it is a fact, it's a truth. So even sometimes people ask that, how this is material world we cannot see so vast, and how a person transform himself to spiritual. But real devotees actually, as it's mentioned, that we are actually in the spiritual sky, but we are within this material cloud. So we are covered by this material cloud. The moment you buy the devotional activity, so we can come out from that material cloud, then we are in the spiritual sky. So this is what it is. Not that, we transport to somewhere else or something like that. No, we are within this. We are completely, everything is Krishna's. Everything is Krishna's energy. Everything is Krishna's potency. Krishna's potency is completely spiritual. So, but we are in a material sky. That is what it's called. That this material world is unreal or imaginary or the temporary. Why? Because of we are into this material cloud. So what happens when there is sun comes, or then there is a wind, the cloud goes. Then when the cloud goes, we can clearly see the sun. Like that, when our anarthas, our impurities, and everything is gone, or we cut down that attachment of the material world that causes all our anarthas, then what we see, we are completely pure, and we are we are transformed. This is called transformation. So we transform completely, and then we completely enter into the spiritual realm. So Krishna is complete. That's why Krishna is complete, but there is a little material cloud is there, and we are within that material cloud, and that creates and all this, and because of our ignorance. So when we are forgetful of Krishna, we will actually get the entrance to this material cloud, and that's where we call it as this material sky or this material nature. But there is a spiritual nature. The moment we come out by our devotional service to the Supreme, then we come out of it, and everything is like a fire, then ignites, and the cloud is gone. Now we are into the spiritual realm, spiritual sky, and depends on our Krishna consciousness, the degree of Krishna, that's called liberation, and depends on our Krishna consciousness, our attachment to Krishna, our bhakti, the loving devotion to Krishna, then we will be with Krishna in his abode, completely and eternally, and ever, never then come back into this material world. So with this note, I would end here. Thank you so much, dear devotees, for joining. And it's so nice that, on this very auspicious day, we all can come together. And, so thank you so much. And, we will conclude here. And let me know if there is any concerns or comments. Thank you so much for being there. Hare Krishna. Haribol. Anybody has any questions, comments, concerns? Haribol, are you there?
Haribol, Prabhuji.
Haribol,
Thank you so much. It was a wonderful class, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you for being there. Okay, so any comments? Anybody would like to add anything? Okay, thank you, dear devotees. And so we'll go to the next part of it. We'll sing the Damodar Ashtagam, since we have, Damodar Puja, Damodar Ashtagam. So we'll sing the Damodar Ashtagam. Let me take the Okay. So are you seeing it? Hare Krishna?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, you're seeing it. Good.
Yes, Prabhuji, we can see.
Okay, so I'll maximize it. Okay. So then, yeah, Satyabhama Mataji, you can go and we will sing the Damodara Ashtaka.
Sure, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Radha Damodar ki jai.
Jai.
नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानम्
Namamishwaram Sachidanandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam. Everybody can unmute and then, repeat.
यशोदाभियो लोकलाघवमानम् परं मृष्टमत्यन्ततो धृतगोप्या
Yashodhabhiyolukhaladhavamanam Paramrishtamathyanda Dodrutya Gopya
रुदन्तं मुहुनेत्रं युग्मं मृजन्तं कराम्बुजयुग्मेन शतङ्कनेत्रम्
Rudhandam Muhurnetra Yukmam Richandam Karamboja Yukmena Sadhanganetram
मुहुश्वासकं पात्रीरेखाङ्गकण्ठ स्थितग्रीवदामोदरं भक्तिबद्धम्
Muhushwasakamba Trirekangakanda Stidagrivam Damodaram Bhaktibaddham
इति दृक्स्वलीलामृतानन्दकुण्डे स्वघोषं निमज्जन्तम् आख्यापयन्तम्
Idhi Driksolila Bhirananda Kunde Sughosham Nimachandam Akhyapayandam
तदीयेषु तज्ञेषु भक्तिर्जितत्वम् पुनः प्रेमादं तत्सतावृत्ति वन्दे
Tadiyeshidasneshu Bhaktirjidatvam Puna Prematastam Sada Vritti Vande
वरं देवमोक्षं न मोक्षं वदिं वा न चान्यं ऋणेऽहं वरेषदपीह
Varam Deva Moksham Na Moksham Vadim Va Na Chanyam Vrinekam Vare Sadapiha
इदं ते वपुर्नाथ गोपालबालम् सदा मे मनसा वीरस्तां किमन्ये
Idam Deva Purnatha Gopala Balam Sadha Me Manasya Virashtam Kimanye
इदं ते मुखं वोचं अत्यन्तनीले व्रतं कुन्तले स्निग्धरक्तेश्च गोप्या
Idam De Mukhambojam Atyanda Nile Vridam Kundalai Snigdha Raktascha Gopya
मुहुश्चुम्बितं बिम्बरक्तधरं मे मनस्य वीरस्तामलं लक्षलाभे
Muhushchumbidam Bimbarektadharam Me Manasya Virashtram Nalam Lakshalabhe
नमो देव दामोदर अनंत विष्णु प्रसीद प्रभो दुःख जलाब्धिमग्नम्
Namo Deva Damodharananda Vishnu Prasida Prabho Dukkha Jalabhimagnam
कृपा दृष्टि वृष्ट विलम्बतानो गृहाणि क्षमामत्याजिदृशा
कृपा दृष्टि वृष्याधिदिनं बदानो गृहाणि क्षमामज्ञं ये दक्षिदृश्या
कुबेरात्मजो बध्यमृत्यैव यद्वा त्वया मोचितो भक्ति भजो कृतौ च
कुबेरात्मजौ बद्धमुतैव यद्वा त्वया मोचितौ भक्ति भजौ कृतौ च
तथा प्रेम भक्ति स्वकामे प्रयच्छ न मोक्षे ग्रहो मे दामोदरेह
तदा प्रेम भक्तिं सुखमे प्रयच्छ न मोक्षे गृहो मेष्टि दामोदरेह
नमस्ते स्तु दाम्ने स्फुरदीप्तिदाम्ने त्वदीयदरायाथ विश्वसदाम्ने
नमस्तेस्तु धाम्ने स्फुरदीप्तिदाम्ने त्वदीयोधरायाध विश्वस्य धाम्ने
नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियाय नमो अनन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम्
नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै नमो नन्दलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम्
नमो राधिकाय नमो अनन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम्
नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै नमो नन्दलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम्
नमो राधिकाय नमो अनन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम्
नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै नमो नन्दलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम्
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
जय राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर राधे
जय राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर राधे
राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर राधे
जय राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर राधे
श्री राधा दामोदर की जय
Jai. So we can also read the translations. It's quite nice to understand. Yeah, please read the first. Everybody can read. Please unmute yourself and read the translation. please.
Here.
Please read the first one. Devotees, go ahead. Okay, I'll read the first. To the Supreme Controller, who possesses an eternal form of blissful knowledge, whose glistening earrings swing to and fro, who manifested himself in Gokula, who stole the butter that the gopis kept hanging from the rafters of their storeroom, and who then quickly jumped up and ran in retreat in fear of Mother Yashoda, but was ultimately caught. To that Supreme Lord Sri Damodara, I offer my humble obeisances. With the second one.
Upon seeing his mother's weeping state, he cried and rubbed his eyes again and again with his two lotus hands. His eyes were fearful and his breathing quick. As the mother Yashoda bound his belly with ropes, he shivered in a fright and his pearl necklace shook. To this Supreme Lord, Sri Damodara, I offer my humble obeisances.
Third one. Third, Sandeep Prabhu, Devi, and Prabhuji, and Ramakrishna Prabhu.
My Prabhuji is also here, so he can.
Okay, yeah, please read here.
Those super excellent pastimes of Lord Krishna's babyhood drown the inhabitants of Gokula in pools of ecstasy. To the devotee who are attracted only to his majestic aspect of Narayana in Vaikuntha, the Lord herein reveals, I am conquered and overwhelmed by pure loving devotion. To the Supreme Lord Damodara, my obeisances hundreds and hundreds of times.
Okay. Fourth one.
O Lord, the checks of your blackish lotus trees, which is encircled by locks of curling hair, have been reddened like bimba fruits due to Mother Yashoda's kisses. What more can I describe than this? Millions of opulences are of no use to me, but may this vision constantly remains in my mind.
Sixth one. Ramakrishna Prabhu or Devi Prabhu. Okay, so I'll go. O Lord, the sixth one. O unlimited Vishnu, O Master of Lord, be pleased upon me. I am drowning in an ocean of sorrow and I'm almost like a dead man. Please shower the rain of mercy on me. Uplift me and protect me with your nectarian vision. Go ahead.
I will seventh one. Seventh, right, Prabhuji? No?
Seventh.
O Lord Damodara, in your form as a baby, Mother Yashoda bound you to a grinding stone with a rope for tying cows. You then freed the sons of Kuvera, Manigreva and Nal Kuvera, who were caused to stand as trees, and you gave them the chance to become your devotees. Please bless me in the same way. I have no desire to the liberation into your effulgence.
Yeah, eighth one. Devotees, please read. Yeah, something. Okay.
O Lord, the entire universe was created by Lord Brahma, who was born from your abdomen, which was bound with a rope by Mother Yashoda. To this rope I offer my humble obeisance. I offer my obeisance to your most beloved Srimati Radha Rani and to your unlimited pastimes.
Yeah, Shri Radha Damodar Ji ki jai.
Jai.
Great. Thank you so much, dear devotees. And we are, we could at least hear Srimad from the Bhagavad Gita and recite Damodara Ashtakam and understand immersed and remember the Supreme Lord's mercy and Lord Damodara. This is month of Kartik and month of Damodar. That's called Damodar month. Damodar pastime is happening on this month. Especially anything we do in this month is very, very auspicious and beneficial. And, so please, continue and join every day. And this is most auspicious month. Anything that which we do is a million times beneficial than any other time. So join without, anything. Otherwise, we can be in so many other things. So thank you so much, dear devotees, for joining and continue this devotional service. Also, Satyabhama Badaji, I wanted to ask you, are you able to also sing the Damodarashtakam tomorrow in the temple around Shaina Arati, 8:35?
So I can do on Zoom, or I had to come in person?
No. Yeah, we have to go there because there'll be devotees coming for Shaina Arati, right?
Okay. Tomorrow. How about day after tomorrow, Prabhuji?
Wednesday, you can do it?
Wednesday is
Okay,
yeah?
I'll try to find out somebody. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. So thank you, dear devotees. Please continue in whichever way you can. And in this, chant the holy name and pray to the Supreme and offer the Gilam to the Supreme Lord, the Lord Damodara, and as well as, sing this Damodara Ashtakam and associate with the devotees, especially on this month of Kartik and Satsang and whatever is possible way. This way, as it's mentioned, the class, we can purify ourselves. We can come out from our material, this is like a dust, it's kind of, we are all completely covered by it. So by the washing ourselves in the spiritual, devotion, so we are cleaning ourselves, we are taking bath in the devotional service, so we purify ourselves. Then all the dust, all the dirt is gone. Now we are pure and clean. So only in that pure and clean stage that we can, enter. And that's really the spiritual, our spiritual position or spiritual nature. So all we need to do is actually take bath in this devotional service, immerse ourselves, put ourselves in that cleaning or purifying process, Chedodar Paramarjana. So this way we can actually come out from our material, this entanglement or, this material realm. So we'll be eternally happy and peaceful and blissful. And our real identity is revealed and we'll be eternally serving the Supreme Lord. So here we are serving this material nature and we are serving ourselves with so many ways, but still we are not happy. Why? Because we are into this perverted or, temporary nature. So there is limited and we are conditioned. So only by put ourselves into that, we have to break that, all the barriers of this material nature. Only way that we can do that we don't have any potential for that. Only by the power of devotion, only by the strength of the devotion, only by the potency of devotion we can do it. So it's very important that we engage and we have to, caught hold of, we have to catch hold of this devotional service very tightly in our life. That only can save us. We have to every moment, every opportunity, every aspects of the devotional, that we have to be always embrace this devotional service. We should not leave that devotional service. This is the only path that we can, liberate ourselves from all these, different problems. So we are actually, we never think about all these things, but always what we do is actually a temporary. We always, what is today, I'm happy. We don't worry about tomorrow. So that's a problem. So we also have to think about what is going to happen tomorrow for us. We may think that death won't come to us, but who knows? Anytime it can come to anyone. So, but we should be prepared. So life is a preparation. Death is an examination. So at the time of death, we should be ready and credited with the lots of, we should be purified at least enough that we don't fall down into another form of life. So we have to practice this every day so that we can become spiritually situated, so that we are saved. Otherwise, we can become any of these living entities in this world and we suffer. And we don't know when we will be getting back our human form of life. So this is very important. And Kartik and all these programs, all this, the importance of this month will help us to achieve or go to the next level of our devotion. So please take it seriously and apply it in our life and practice every day so that we can free from our temporary nature, and we can completely perfect our life, attain the supreme nature, our spiritual nature. Thank you so much. With this note, we will end here, and please continue without any fail. And Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. It's
Thank you
wonderful.
so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate your efforts and always giving devotional service to others. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Vancha kalpatarupasya kripa sindhubhyeva cha patidanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Grandhiraj Shri Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Premanand. Hare Hare.
Thank you, sir.